the hell is Prometheus?
I like coffee with my coffee. I'm a no bullshit kind of girl. No room for creamer or that vanilla stuff either. I need something real to fill my...
Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Isabel, and today we have a new segment that I named Give Blank Space a Chance. As you can see in the title, today we are going to talk about a book that I deeply enjoy and I've read multiple times, Frankenstein by Mary Shelley, or the modern Prometheus. So let's start. Frankenstein by Mary Shelley has been disgraced with a series of undeserving adaptations. Frankenstein has morphed within our culture and has turned into something entirely different. Of course, I have no reason to lie to you, and I have no problems recognizing when an adaptation is better than the novel, as I've done in the past in these videos, but that is extremely not the case with this novel. So that's why you need to give it a chance, because you're not gonna get this content anywhere else. You got to read it. And I know it was probably grilled into you as a mandatory read in school, but you probably read the Sparks notes, or you were very busy acting like you read it, and it's fine. We all have those books that we just don't read, but this shouldn't be one of those. You should really read this book. You also might have heard that the name of the monster is not Frankenstein, and that the subtitle of the novel is The Modern Prometheus. And you might be wondering, who the hell is Prometheus? But in case you haven't heard any of this or watched any of the adaptations and you still don't know what to make of this, I'll convince you to give Frankenstein a chance. Mary Shelley, an 18-year-old girl, was spending some time in Geneva with her partner, Percy Shelley, and Lord Byron. After an impromptu contest, she gave us a complex, amazing story that deals with human nature, galvanism, and the origins of life, and just the purpose of life. You should read it because this novel follows 3 concentric layers, masterly done, which is known as a concentric structure. It means that has a common center. And in the first layer, we have an epistolary style with the letters from a seaman that casually encounters Victor Frankenstein in the North Pole. The second layer covers Frankenstein's memories as a young scientist and his disturbing experience with the experiment of a lifetime, a nameless monster. Then the third and central layer, also known as the most interesting one, is the one from the creature's perspective. His experience with rejection, darkness, education, and murder. Strangely, the layer with the most philosophical and analytical conflict is the one of the creature instead of the maker, which is already something that represents us as human race, in case that you believe in any type of organized religion or that someone or something greater made you. We are the ones that spend our time thinking about that and what it means and what to do with it, while the maker is not. Victor Frankenstein mostly tries to evade his responsibility. That's why this layer structure is very interesting, because we get to contrast all these events that already happened, because we need to remember that the first one, it's about the man in the North Pole that is listening to this whole story and writing about it to his sister. Uniquely, reading Frankenstein is an immediate trip to our own insecurities. The majority of the readers can see themselves in one of our 2 main voices, Frankenstein and his desire for praise, or the monster's desire for acceptance. Ultimately, both desires are rooted in the same primal instinct of being seen. And this is something important, because when Victor Frankenstein wants public recognition, his creature wants the base recognition that humans need for them to eventually relate themselves in the public. And that's one of the many layers and conversations that you can have after you give Frankenstein a chance, because you can totally talk about the public and the private, and how the familiar state or the upbringing that psychology is always talking about is so important for both of the characters and what their goals and desires are. In a way, the creature acts like a newborn baby that is denied a family, becoming an orphan that has to feed for himself, and is looking for a foster family and foster recognition that his maker is not giving him. And he has to come up with all his own answers to the questions that he has of, why am I here? Why was I made? What is my purpose in life? And what should I do? What is what I need to do to earn this that has been denied to me? While the maker behaves more as a careless goddess figure that constantly rejects and ignores his own. Again, this is why I love this book so much, because it really challenged whatever your posture is about goodness and darkness, nature versus nurture, or any of those postures that you can possibly think of. For example, I believe that we are clean slates, that we get formed by our surroundings, but we naturally have a tendency for goodness, even when our primal desires are mostly selfish. That might be true for the monster, because he only experiences rejection due to his physical appearance. But then what is what corrupts Victor Frankenstein in the first place into developing this God complex? Why does he need to know the secrets of life and death? And then why is he so reluctant to acknowledge his responsibility for the creature that he has spent so much time doing and rejects having anything to do with it after it's born, when what he wanted was the praise? With that acknowledgement could have prevented several tragedies or just direct them into other objectives. Moreover, giving Frankenstein a chance is giving Mary Shelley the recognition that she deserves as the author of the first science fiction novel, and a reconstruction of the horror novel, the gothic, peppered with the sublime of the romantic era. Is just such a treat that you should really give this a chance. Even though it's not often mentioned as a symbol of the romantic, or it's mostly talked about as the first science fiction novel, it is romantic because we have the elements of the sublime that embody the beauty is terror, beauty is fear motto, the voyage framework that starts in the North Pole and then goes to Switzerland in a foreign mystic trip, the usage of the macabre, the nature of good and evil with the religious context, with the religious allegories and style, and the ultimate disturbing murders / darkness that can be found in this novel. All of this makes it tremendously significant to our current times, and only proves that Mary Shelley deserved to be part of the romantic six if sexism wasn't a thing. Finally, you should give Frankenstein a chance because it is a classic that deals with all these themes since the subtitle, which is totally a cue of its mastery. Again, I'm not a snob that is just gonna tell you read this book because it's a classic and the books that are within the canon are the only books worthy. None of that bullshit. When you start thinking about small things like the subtitle, you really stop and think, wow, this is really worthy and you should give it a chance. So, the modern Prometheus. In case you don't know, Prometheus initially had two origin stories. As you can find it in Aeschylus and Hesiod, the Greeks believed in Prometheus Perforos, I don't know, I'm sorry. The one who stole the fire from the sun to help mankind and womankind. For the Romans, Prometheus was the plasticator, which is the one who created humanity from clay. After some time, both versions mixed, creating the Prometheus that we know as the one who stole the fire from the sun and forged mankind with it from clay. So for Mary Shelley to allude to him adds a new layer of meaning on top of the meaning that then we get about Adam, God, Lucifer, and all the references to Paradise Lost, which at the same time, Paradise Lost references Prometheus. As you can find it in your copy of Frankenstein, underneath the subtitle, it says, "Did I request thee, maker, from my clay to mold me, man? Did I solicit thee from darkness to promote me?" Which is part of Paradise Lost by John Mills. Again, the creature asking the creator, did I ask you to make me? I didn't want it to be born. I didn't ask you for any of this. You made me out of clay. I am your responsibility. So in this way, the creature is leveling himself to Adam and to Lucifer. Or as you can understand it later, as a progression from Adam to Lucifer, or as an option, nature versus nurture. I could be Adam, but because of you, I turn into Lucifer.
Again, debatable.
Those are just options at what you could interpret it if you read this book. Shelley, as the mastermind, plays the same trick in the title to make us wonder, what is this modern Prometheus really after? Is Victor Frankenstein stealing the ability of God to create life in order to aid humankind? Is he forging a new class of creature as a classic creator? Is he suffering the same punishment that Zeus gave Prometheus for all eternity to be eaten by an eagle over and over again? Because if Victor is Prometheus, then he did a good thing by making the creature? Because stealing the fire from the gods was actually good for humankind, so they wouldn't be dependent on the gods, so they could use the fire to do things. Difficult one. Because then everyone involved in this novel suffers so much, and God doesn't show up as Zeus did. He doesn't strictly comes down and gives Victor Frankenstein a punishment. It's more like as a divine karma that things don't go as he planned, but it's entirely his fault. I don't know. I don't have an answer. That's why I would like you to read it, so we can talk about it. Like, last time I read this book was like 2 years ago, and I'm still shocked. And all of these memories are just coming back from all the possibilities. Also, in our current political and economical climate, technology is one of our main weapons. The sacred fire of the gods that only a few Promethean figures dare to mess with. What are the ethics behind the scope of technology? Well, I don't know. Maybe reading Frankenstein can get you thinking about that. I know I'm giving you more questions than clear points, but if I give you all the answers, then this segment wouldn't work as I wanted it to work. This segment is not me telling you this is this amazing book, here's the analysis of it. Is you really need to read this book. We need to talk about it. You need to give Frankenstein a chance, because you're not going to get this discourse anywhere else. I need you so we can figure it out together. I would love to see your opinion in the comment section down below. You can DM me on Instagram, and maybe we can later talk about adaptations that I briefly mentioned at the beginning of this video. How culture has shaped Frankenstein into a different story almost. Maybe why is the creature nameless? And then we have this tendency of naming the monster Frankenstein, like Victor. Is Victor Frankenstein the actual monster and his creature is just our victim? We can talk about that later. We can talk about it when you read it, okay? That's all from me. If you have any other classics for this section or any book, so if you have any suggestions, send them over. As usual, keep reading, and when you're not, follow me on my socials, and see you next time. Bye!